Welcome to OpenHMIS, Homeless Management Information Systems made simple. HMIS doesn't have to be a chore. There is an easier way. In the beginning, HMIS was simple, a way to collect and record information about the homeless, a little spreadsheet or database with some client information, just a few data elements to keep track of, the client's name, an ID, date of birth, race, and gender. And since we wanted to share that information between different programs, we needed one more table that kept track of a client's enrollment, when they entered the program and when they exited. Still pretty simple. And with an ID in the program enrollment table that matched an ID in the client table, we could get useful information about each client enrolled in the program. With this connection or relationship between the two tables, HUD soon realized they could tap into this information to get valuable clues to help end homelessness. But soon HUD researchers and data analysts realized that in order to better understand what was working or not working, they needed more information. Information about the client, demographics, veteran status, housing information. So we were asked to add more information and more tables for households, finance, special needs, and more. And all this information was somehow related to the answer to how to end homelessness. So eventually we ended up with a more complex system that looked more like spaghetti. And now every change or new HUD requirement that HUD wants to make has an impact on the database, development, the software, the reports, the user interface, and these all impact the limited resources of development and training. So instead of developers working on new innovative tools that help users and programmers, developers spend way too much time fixing code, bugs, and updating reports so that we can make sure that we meet HUD's requirements and are 100% compliant. And this isn't just one HMIS vendor. It affects every HMIS vendor, whether they are a one-person consulting firm or a 100-person shop. This work has to be done. There are over 30 different HMIS vendors that need to meet the same requirements in the most efficient interpretation they can muster. 30 vendors times 2 employees times 10 weeks times 40 hours per week. That's 24,000 hours of development that could go into ending homelessness. And there's no guarantee that each vendor is interpreting the preliminary recs, specs, and standards that HUD intended. If you look at the HUD HMIS data standards, it really isn't that difficult. There are still only about 30 required data elements to keep track of. So if we begin to remove some of the additional enhancements and options and workarounds that are no longer required and focus on the HUD required elements, we can come up with a fairly simple data structure that is easier for developers to understand, collaborate, and agree on, and come up with one standard data structure and one set of business rules. We then provide one easy user interface for minimum intake and admin that makes it simple to meet HUD requirements. We provide only the required reports like APR and AHAR, along with some data quality reports just for good measure. So we now have a much simpler HMIS that is easier to understand and easier to use, making it simpler to enhance with the applications, tools, services that our users need to help their clients. Developers, users, and clients can realize the benefits from new tools and applications that help programs work efficiently. Users become more productive and provide the services our clients need, like coordinated intake and assessment, case management, data analysis, street outreach, vulnerability indexes, data integration with other shared services, and a whole lot more.